Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for watching my video and do all that good YouTube stuff. Share it, like it, hit the notification bell, thumbs up, subscribe, all the things that you do. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video and saving some money perhaps. I also invite you to check out the links in the description for some long-term savings with the stock market and checking out the links for either E-Trade or M1 where you can save and trade fractional stocks, or Webull, which is usually giving away a couple free stocks for just depositing $100. So I strongly invite you to invest in your future and check them out. Thanks, and let's get to the video. 2015 Hyundai Elantra front brake pad replacement. Looks like 21 millimeter lug nuts. Left to loosen counterclockwise, right to tighten clockwise. Jack the vehicle up. Use safety stands, protect yourself. There's a pinch weld here you can use. Let's see. Oof, driving through some brush. Got a shield here, so can't really jack up underneath there. So, but plenty of good metal down here as well, or the pinch weld. Like to get in here and try and collapse piston and caliper slides. Get a little space between the rotor and inner pad. Collapse it more. Make sure your master cylinder is not too full. We'll see that when we're done here. Just make sure it's not too full so it doesn't boil over, flow over. We can collapse it all the way down. See, our slides are good. Now we know we can continue on with pretty good confidence without having to worry about calipers being an issue. So we'll check the other side and then we'll keep going with the brake job. Brake caliper, caliper mount, brake rotor. It does have two fillet screws holding the rotor on. Alright, so both sides for the calipers are nice and free, sliding nice, so we can continue on. Putting a screwdriver in the grooves is what you can do to keep the rotor from turning. And try and get these Phillips screws out. If they don't come out, try not to damage them. You might be able to use an impact driver. You're going to twist this counterclockwise, tapping on it. .14 millimeter. So you got a 14 millimeter and probably 17 millimeter for the bracket back here. That's what we'll be working on. So this is actually, we can just probably swing this up. Don't need to take both bolts out. Just kind of stuck on the pad. Squealer. Looks like it was hard to say. Maybe just starting to touch, maybe on the very corner. 17 millimeter on the gun. You can clean up these with a rag or something. Usually clean them up pretty nice. They're mostly stainless steel, I believe, or something, so they clean up pretty nice. Or replace them if you get new ones. Just a friction fit sits in there. So just do the same for both sides. Clean them up and or replace them. So these were nice and free, but I'm still going to put just a little more lubricant on it. There we go. Recommend machining or replacing your rotors. You do notice this top one has a rubber plug in it, or rubber bit on there. I don't think that both of them do, so if you take them both apart, just be aware of that. That's in the top. So that's the first half, removing your brake parts. So I'm putting on Rebestos fully coated rotors for rain, rust, salt protection. So you don't need to clean it. You can see it's a grayish silver color all over the place. And so you don't need to wash these. However, if you get regular rotors, there'll be oil coating on there. You need to wash that off with some warm soap and water on both sides everywhere, and then rinse it off and then install it. We'll torque those down in a bit. Put a little lubricant on the edges here on the metal contact points for here. So you just put a little bit on, not too much. Pads fit in the same way in the front and the back. And since we collapsed our pistons already, drop it right back down. If you didn't quite get it all the way, you can use a large C-clamp or large channel locks and collapse it. Something like this will do. Just on the other side, of course. Just squeeze it. And that's probably a 17 millimeter. But my wrenches almost always seem to be too fat to get in there right, so I'd maybe use a narrower needle nose or something. But it's not an issue right now. Alright, I'll get you the torque specs. For the large bolts, about 70 foot-pounds. For these, about 20 foot-pounds. And for the lug nuts, about 80 foot-pounds. And I say about because they give you a little bit of a range, but this is on the higher end of the range, so you're good. Tighten the lug nuts in a crisscross pattern as tight as you can when it's off the ground. And then lower the vehicle so the tire is touching the ground so it doesn't turn. Continue your torquing process there, and then you can put it all the way to the ground. And then we'll go to the master cylinder and check fluid as needed. Alright, so here's our master cylinder right here. It does have a minimum, has a maximum line and a minimum line, so you want to of course be in between that. So probably in a perfect world from the factory it comes at the maximum. Then as your brakes get used up, the fluid goes down. Collapse the pistons, push the fluid back up, and then right back to the max line with your new brake pads. Perfect world. So that's where we're at right there at the maximum. So still want to step on the brakes a few times to set the pistons in place and everything before you hand it off. Because right away you might have a low brake pedal, which would scare somebody. So pump it a few times. Take the cap off, just twist off. .3 brake fluid. Just like that. So keep an eye on your fluid level. If you don't want it overflowing, brake fluid can do paint damage if you're concerned about that. So keep an eye on it so it doesn't overflow. And that is replacing your brake job. This work order is actually for a 2016. The build date is March of 2015. So there you go. I'm sure this will work for several years, makes and models. Bolt sizes might change, but the procedure is the same. Good luck to you.